This podcast is sponsored by Pocket Hose.
Hi, I'm Richard Karn. Homeowners, listen up. Before Pocket Hose, garden hoses were heavy, bulky, hard to carry, and always kinking. Then Pocket Hose changed all that. It's the American invention that made watering lighter, easier, and smarter. And now, the world's #1 expanding hose has gone ballistic. Turn on the water and watch it grow from a compact hose into a full-length, powerful hose. Turn off the water and it shrinks right back down, making it easy to carry and easy to store. But now it's even better. With a tough ballistic-infused outer sleeve, a pocket pivot that helps reduce kinks at the spigot, thicker washers to help resist leaks, and UV protection to fight sun damage. And for a limited time, you'll get 2 free gifts, a 360-degree pocket pivot and a thumb drive nozzle. Just go to pockethose.com/podcast. That's pockethose.com/podcast for your 2 free gifts with purchase. pockethose.com/PODCAST.
Hey everybody, welcome, and thank you for listening to this episode of Marriage Therapy Radio. My name is Zach Brittle, and I'm here today with the dude therapist and the dude therapist's wife. They're both very cool. You'll learn more about Ellie Weinstein and his wife Ariella Weinstein in a second. I just went to a wedding. It's the 3rd wedding I've been to in the last 6 months that are the weddings of our friends' kids. So children that we knew when they were young and they were, toddlers walking around our house. Sometimes babies that I held while they were still in the hospital. 3 of them in the last little run here. And it just, it's wild, man. It's very wild to be a marriage therapist in these contexts, sitting in the back and listening to these vows and listening to these, sermons or homilies about what a marriage is, and watching these young couples, with love and light in their eyes, get ready to do this thing. And it just always occurs to me that there is a very big difference between a wedding and a marriage. I'm not down on these weddings. They're lovely, and we had a great time, and we danced a lot, and I'm learning how to be at a wedding because, it's a place that sort of famously people drink and lubricate more and more through the evening, and that's not my jam anymore. So I try on different personas from time to time, and I tried on, last night I tried on the persona of what if I were drunk? Like, what if I were drunk right now? What would I be doing? And I danced a lot more, I'll tell you that. It was kind of fun. But then the other cool part is that like when I'm kind of tired or done dancing, or I think maybe that I've said or done something that is a little bit embarrassing, I just walk away quietly. I go get a Diet Coke or a cookie, and I just mind my own business for a minute. It's pretty fun. But man, weddings are a funny thing. They come with all this ritual and all these promises and all this aspiration. My wife tells me sometimes I can't read a room, but I can read a room enough not to offer sage advice about perseverance and playing the long game, and what it's going to be like when they actually do find out how much their differences are problematic. But all that to say, I am grateful to be invited to these weddings. It's very fun to see people who are investing in their communities and in one another. And yeah, I also am glad that I'm in the business of helping people play the long game and do the marriage. And, Ellie and Ariella Weinstein have done that. They have made and raised children. They are currently on the cusp of having one more baby. They've had to navigate through the challenges of figuring out how to have, different personalities, and also some challenges inside just how those personalities show up. Ellie has ADHD and speaks a little bit to how that has shown up in their relationship and what they've learned how to do about it. They elevate the idea of communication as a linchpin of their successful relationship, and I drill down into what that actually means for them and how it shows up. And it's cool to hear them describe specific strategies that they lean into to help take care of each other and take care of their family. It was also cool to talk to Ellie about his book and compare notes as writers. This, again, as you know, for me has been a insane endeavor of kind of figuring out how to be a person who puts thoughts out into the world in a way that is going to last. People are going to hold it in its hand. It's very weird. We live in a publish now world. My book's not going to come out until April, but then it'll be a thing that I wrote a year and a half ago, and that's wild to think about. So we thought about that out loud. Basically, this is a very cool conversation. Stick around. Well, good morning. Is it morning where you are? Where are you?
We're in Las Vegas. It's morning at 10 o'clock. So we've been up since 5:30.
5:15 for me.
So basically the second day.
What do you do when you wake up? Why do you wake up at 5:30, 6 o'clock? What happens next?
For me, in the summer months, I've just, with the light, I don't know, my body wakes me up, and then I take my dog for a walk because in Vegas, it's just too hot to go during the day. So it's like nice and shady. It's still 79 degrees or 80 already by 5:45. So I took my dog for a walk, and then we were waking up our kids and getting the day going by 6:30. So 6:30 to 7:30 is rush, breakfast, getting dressed,
Tantrums.
lunches, tantrums.
You know, the
and
whole
then
9 yards.
school drop off.
Who's throwing the tantrums in your house?
Me, I'm doing it. I'm having the tantrums.
What is that about?
Me having the tantrums?
Yeah.
Too much noise.
I'm just joking. Well, it depends on the day, but too much noise. This morning, our freezer was beeping because it wasn't sealed right, and the fridge was making noise, and the kids are doing this. No, but today the tantrum was our son not
Couldn't find the toy
Toy
he
he
wanted
wanted,
to
the
bring
specific
to
toy.
school. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing how kids can just feel their thing. They just feel it out loud, and that's just how it goes. And you're never kind of unclear what it is that's going on inside their brains.
Oh, yeah, I know. We have kids having tantrums over what color cup they want, and we give them the wrong thing, or they ask for the food. We give them the food they ask for, and they really wanted something else. But
or we cut it up before
yeah.
they wanted to do it themselves, you know.
That's always the fun one. It's like, put it back together. It's like, I can't. Glue it. You can't eat glue. Well, you could,
Yeah.
but
Wouldn't recommend.
not the best.
What? Who are your kids? How old are your kids, and what have you got?
We've got a 7-year-old as of Sunday, named Ricky. She's a girl. And then
Okay.
we have a son named Max who's 4 1/4. He will specify the quarter.
And
we've got-
they're on the way. Baby
Oh,
Two
snickerdoodle.
weeks.
Baby snickerdoodle.
Did you tell me? Do you know if it's a boy or a girl?
Yeah, we're just not telling anyone.
Okay, right on. But and you're due when? 2 weeks?
In
Yeah,
about 7 weeks.
How are you feeling?
Overall, pretty good. Definitely getting a little bit more like winded, or there's not enough room for my belly to wash dishes in the sink these days. So you might be on dish duty from now on.
I'll do it. You know,
Last night was a bit of a struggle trying to reach the sink.
but she's feeling pregnant.
Yeah, but overall, I can't complain. I'm feeling pretty good.
Right on. Tell me about the dude therapist. Where did that come from for you?
Came from a late night of two friends talking about if I had a podcast, what should you call it? And he said, well, you are a dude. And I went, okay, so I'm a dude who's a therapist. It also came out of boredom during COVID. Like we were in LA for a couple of months living with my in-laws, and I was working on New York hours. So I was starting at 5 o'clock in the morning, ending at about like 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and that had nothing to do for 3 to 4 hours, 5 hours in the afternoon. And I hate writing, even though now I'm an author of a book, but I still hate writing. And I'd rather speak and rant and yell into a microphone and talk. So I was like, hey, let's start a podcast. And so it's been about, I think about 6 seasons right now.
Cool. And what's it like being married to the dude therapist?
He takes me for an interesting ride. We have his sticker on our car, so everyone's always like, "Are you the dude therapist?" And I'm like, "No, that's my husband. I am not a dude."
Didn't a couple months ago,
What?
like one of my ex-clients,
Oh yes, I had someone approach me in a grocery store parking lot, and I you get all nervous when someone's just walking up to you and you don't know them.
Sure.
And he was like, "I think your husband, are you the dude therapist? Are you married?" I'm like, "That's my husband." And he said he was my therapist. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's so nice." Or actually it was at the library, so it was even more random. But yeah, so I guess I'm, famous.
associated,
So,
not
yeah.
not
Fame
famous,
adjacent.
Fame adjacent.
adjacent.
And the funny
exactly.
thing is, people think, I get asked a lot, well, you're the dude therapist and you have a book on marriage and relationships. And a couple weeks ago, my client said, but how's your marriage? I went, it depends on the day. Like today was a good day. Like 3 days ago, I might have made my wife cry like 7 times. But like I'm not perfect. So it's funny that everyone like sees the dude therapist podcast or the book or the therapy things. And they all of a sudden always ask her or wonder like, what's the behind the scenes? It's normal. That's what the behind the scenes is,
There's
There's regular issues and struggles like anyone else.
Good days and bad days.
Good days and bad days, yeah.
I always tell people I don't have a perfect marriage, but I don't have any excuses either.
My joke is that I know everything about your marriage, but nothing about mine.
Oh, right on. Well, what makes a good day for you guys? Like, what's when you say it depends on the day, what makes a good day for your marriage?
Can I start with this one?
Sure.
Yeah. I think a good day for me within the relationship is being mindful of her and aware of the context that she's dealing with the day. So if, she had a rough night sleeping because of the pregnancy, or, kids waking up, or our dog being annoying, or anything, or me snoring too loud, whatever it might be, that I have that context and I take that into account with kindness and compassion. I think it means recovering well when we do like step on each other's toes or butt heads a little bit, and not letting it get to the next level or the intensity. And for me, it's being better for myself at taking accountability of the dysregulation. With my ADHD, I sometimes get dysregulated with my emotions a little bit quicker or faster or impulsive in those kind of ways when it's just a lot of noise and a lot of stress. So to me, kind of being proactive to help keep that under control so that we can exist in a healthier space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would definitely agree with that. I think a lot of where on our good days, what works really well is when we're communicating. Like anybody would say, communication is so important in a marriage. So I would say when we're kind of like checking in with each other, what do you need out of today? What do you need to get done? I have this time. What needs to be done around the house? What can I help with? Just so that, again, he tries to check in with me, because often the women we know sometimes can carry that mental load, and he's very good about saying, like, offload some of that to me. Like, what are some things that you need taken care of? And this way, and then we start to get into a groove with that. But I would say sometimes our areas of struggles are, again, those like morning hours, those afternoon hours when the kids are home, either again in the morning when we're getting them ready, or in the afternoon when we're trying to get dinner, bath time, homework, showering, reading time, etc. And it's kind of like just being on and figuring out, like, if he wants to watch a sports game, saying like, hey, I really would like to do this. And I have to be honest with myself and say, do I have the capacity to handle that? Can I give you that time? Because I know it is important to you. And I don't just kind of like write that off as like, oh, sports are dumb. It's like, no, that is something that's important to him. And if I can make that happen, I'd love to. But if I really can, if I feel stretched, I also have to be honest with him and say, I don't have the capacity today, and just really, again, be honest and say, I need your help today. I need that backup.
Yeah, something we do with each other is like we check like the engine light or the tank, where we go, where's your tank at? Like where you are on like an energy level. Because one day watching the Golden Knights is not a problem, or watching the Knicks last night wasn't a problem. Yeah. But another night, not that it's a problem, it's just I need your help because I'm not functioning at a capacity right now that I can't do it alone. And it's just like that constant check-in, or that just it's not asking for permission because she controls my life. It's asking permission because we're a unit. We have to work well together. So just because I want to do something doesn't mean I get to do it just because I want it. I'm not a child. So it's more of that, hey, is this good? Is this good timing? If it's not, I need to be respectful, because she's not doing it to be controlling or mean. She's doing it because she's being honest and saying, I can't. I need your help.
How long have you been married?
11 years in August. Together for about 12.
Did you do anything specific? Did you, is this like inherent for you, or did you learn it? Did you take a class? Did you get therapy yourselves? Did you have how did you decide, or how did you come into this version of interacting with one another on behalf of like chasing good days?
I think a lot of arguments and like mess ups and learning what we need from each other, and just really being willing to accept our challenges and our baggage and our things, and communicate them, be really like, a team effort to work on them. I know I go to therapy now. You've been on and off in therapy over the years, reading a lot of books, suggesting things, and not going, oh my gosh, you're so annoying. Why do you suggest another book? Or podcast or things like that. But it's also just we're very good together. We're a very good team mentality.
Yeah, I think all of these books behind us. They're all Ellie's collection of therapy books.
Yeah.
And
I have a problem.
He definitely has read a lot of them because he wants to not only be a great husband and father, but also a good therapist where he can give tools for any type of presentation that comes into his office. And then for me, I've read a handful. I read a few before we got married, a few during our relationship. I read 2 as of the last week because we did have one fight where it was kind of like there's something that's just like I need to handle or I need to figure out some tools to help me work through. But I think for the most part, when we have those kind of butt head moments, we really like open ourselves up to, we're very vulnerable with each other and kind of share what went wrong, what am I feeling, what hurt my feelings in this moment, what do I need to be better for next time so that doesn't happen, and also kind of like humbling ourselves in those moments of like, I can take ownership of what I did wrong. I think both of us do well, sometimes not right in the beginning of an argument, but by the end, each of us taking accountability for what role we played in one of those blow-ups. And I think that just, humility and giving each other the benefit of the doubt also has been key of like, we could take accountability. We know we're not perfect. I know you may have been going through things and now I could see that given a little bit of context. And like, again, taking those takeaways, like really trying to sum up what are our takeaways of what we could do better next time. And I think each time we honestly feel closer when we have these arguments. And then the rest of the week often feels so much better.
Get it off our chest. Yeah. And I also think it's like setting the tone from learning from our past and learning from our experiences and really kind of it's an effort. It's a daily effort. It's a daily choice to make that work. And it's not an easy thing though.
Yeah. Well, I think you may have accidentally coined a brand new phrase, which is you called them butt head moments, and maybe it's actually when you're in butt head moments. Like,
you're being a butt head and you're butting heads.
Yeah. Can you tell us about your fight? Is that something you can do? This one that sent you to 2 books? What happened?
I don't even remember why it started. It was more of just the argument.
Isn't that the thing though? Doesn't that happen all the time?
I remember how it started.
I don't even remember what the fight was.
I don't even know. I think it would take me a few minutes to like recall what exactly happened.
I think some of the things were more of just the patterns that I fall into that I need to work on, and just calling each other out with like a growth mentality, not just like dumping on someone and saying you suck, you're the worst. Yeah. But more of like, hey, I keep noticing this thing, and it keeps getting in the way of having a successful conversation, whether it's being stuck on certain mindsets or needing things to be done a certain way, or having certain, I call it like box mentalities, like being in a certain box or having a certain label of things. And like, okay, so you have ownership over that. Are there ways that I can help you work through that? Not as a therapist, as your husband. And so how those things hurt me. And it's a calling out with love. It's not a pointing fingers to put someone down. I forgot what it was really started.
I can remember a little bit of it. I think what I was struggling with was sometimes if he would express that he was upset about something, and I would be like, I'm so sorry, I messed up, I did something wrong. He would still potentially be a little bit heated or keep going just to kind of like fully express the feeling, because he's a very passionate, emotional guy. And for me, I'm actually more of like the rational, logical of like, I want this to be over. I don't like conflict. That comes from a lot of my background growing up of like, some chaos, some big feelings, big emotions. I don't handle that very well. For me, I'm like the peacemaker. I'm the middle child. Like, I just like things to be calm. That helps regulate my nervous system. So for me, it's kind of like I honestly am usually pretty good at saying like, I messed up, I'm sorry, I won't do that. But it's honestly sometimes like, I just want to shut it down as quickly as possible versus giving him the space to kind of like fully express how something made him feel. So sometimes I can get caught up in like, why didn't that work? Like, I apologize, I said I was wrong, I figured out what I could do better next time. Like, why isn't this over? Why can't we just move on? Like, I don't like this, I don't like the conflict, I don't like the bad feelings. And again, from his perspective, he's not done communicating how something felt, and I need to give him a little bit of that space for that. So sometimes like when it doesn't work, I get like all emotional, or I like start to shut down because I'm like, it should have worked, I followed the formula, why isn't it working? but we're different people in how we respond or how we take accountability, and how we could feel like, okay, I'm done, I'm ready to move on. He's not ready for that yet, but I'm ready for it to be over. And so it was just kind of like learning that communication, learning, when he's expressing something, it might not just be one sentence. It might be a full, like, this is how I'm really feeling, and I need to give him the space for that. So that kind of...
Yeah, and my ownership of it was learning how to do that smarter and better for her to be able to stay there and be there with it versus just... blah, blah, just word vomiting, and it doesn't mean that I can't express myself. It doesn't mean that I'm not allowed to. It means that I just have to do it smarter so that she can support me. So that was like my side of it, was I kind of kept going and was more intense maybe that she could handle, versus, hey, like, bring it down to this level and I can work on myself to come here and we can meet each other, versus you up here and me down here, and we're not able to compute and work through those things and not able to, mesh in a better way.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see how you would have a hard time sometimes remembering how arguments start. I mean, that's me too. I'm like, I don't know how this started. I don't even know what it was about. Do you have a sense for yourselves of how your arguments end? How do they end for the two of you?
Usually it depends on the argument, like if we need to wrap it up that day or not, how we're feeling, how tired we are, or how overwhelmed it might have been, the argument. And it's okay to go to bed frustrated and annoyed if we need that, so that the morning we can do it smarter. I don't know, my grandmother, who's turning 99 in a couple of weeks, told me at our wedding, like, don't go to bed angry. That's like a classic thing.
Right.
But sometimes you need to, because your brain isn't functioning at its capacity to be able to handle the argument.
Yeah, you're speaking my language. I think don't go to bed angry is among the worst marriage advice
100%.
available.
I don't think it has ever worked for us.
I don't think it works for anyone. Going harder in the paint and pushing even further and going more aggressive when you're tired and you're overwhelmed and your brain is just glitching and not at its best, probably not the best communication conversation skills are, kicking in. So depending on the argument, but we like to wrap it up with like, okay, so what was the takeaway? What was the summary? How did you, not let's rehash it and go through every point, but okay, we're wrapping it up. What's the end result? What are we going to do now? What are we going to do next? What are we going to do for each other? How are you feeling right now? Kind of more of that caring for each other and making sure that we're, keeping an eye out for what the things are.
Yeah. We talked a little bit about, what makes a good day. And maybe we've already covered this, but do you have a sense for yourselves of what makes a bad day? The day that you make her cry 7 times in a row? Or I think that's the way you labeled it. But
it's me.
What do the bad days have in common?
It's
overstimulation and me kind of nagging or poking or prodding or being like nippy. Like, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, it was like I was in the middle of something. I was doing this. I had a long day. I had a client, unfortunately, that was struggling with suicidal thoughts, and it was just a really rough session. Yeah. So I just didn't express, hey, I'm not in a good headspace. And she said, can you take care of something? And I snapped at her and said, like, why are you bothered? Whatever, thing, like, oh, you're just, and just huffing and puffing. And that puts her in a bad headspace, because all she's going is like, hey, I'm asking you if you can do the dinner that, I want to do. And then I was like, but you could have asked me earlier. And like, I'm like, poking and prodding and being annoying and frustrating, and just harumph. And I need a 10, 15 minute cool off to walk away and just go, hey, my bad, reset, we're good. That's from my end what I cause if there is a really bad day. It's usually because of those patterns and things.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, I would say either we're just not on the same page, like a lack of communication, which for me sometimes I can, just as a mom, I think, or even as parents, I don't want to just make it about the mom, but I can have a million things on my head, but sometimes it'll frustrate him if I didn't tell him we have plans for this. Someone invited us here. My mom said she was coming over, and not, again, fully communicating. He'll be like, why are you surprising me with that? Especially, again, in this situation was kind of he had asked me what needs to get done. And I didn't mention that I had an idea for dinner, which is, there are certain meals that he makes versus what I make. And I was like, okay, I took the meat out or something. Yeah. Can you make burgers or tacos, which are very easy? But he was so thrown off because he had asked me, what can I get done during the day? And I didn't fully think oh, also dinner, because I was in the middle of my work day, but that like kind of frazzled him on a day he was already frazzled. So I think my area where like I'll start to get things going is when I'm like have things in my head and I don't fully release them on paper or on text or speaking to him. But I think the combination of the two is really
that's when the fun happens.
When the fun happens, when the learning opportunities are endless.
Yeah. Yeah. What books did you read? After you said I read 2 last week, what did you read?
So I read Super Communicators by Charles Duhigg.
Okay.
And the other one, Inherited Anxiety.
Inherited by Nicole
Saxton. Yeah.
And what do Charles Duhigg and Nicole Thaxton have to say to you about the way that you show up in your relationship?
So I would say with the Charles Duhigg one thing was just kind of like the matching principle, was just kind of like making sure that when you're in a situation with somebody that you're matching what they're coming to kind of share. So again, sometimes like if he's communicating something that upset him, he's not necessarily looking for the solve or solution of like, I want an apology and then we're good. Sometimes, again, it is just kind of like the venting, and I need to be present and be like not just looking for the automatic fix, but just like validating and letting him share and just like sitting perhaps with the uncomfortable feeling and then moving on to the next piece, which is, again, the apology. I'll just share with the other book was, with some of my past, again, just kind of trying to understand why I have a hard time with some of the uncomfortable feelings.
This is inherited anxiety.
Yeah.
You're talking about.
Inherited anxiety. Like the stress, the chaos of just like not wanting to deal with it. Like I just don't like it. And so it was just kind of like hearing, about some of the tips, to handle that. And again, just not taking the blame for everything or being like, again, it's my job to fix the room, assess, gauge the temperature and try to bring it down. Like I can't control that. And I have to release some of that. And again, sit with the uncomfortable feelings sometimes.
Yeah. And I know like I've read the Charles Duhigg book and I know I put some of the things of his in my book on some of the communication chapters. Like his book is very wonderful foundational book for just general communication, like the matching principle, or even having the conversation of what is this conversation about? Is this logistics? Is this an emotional conversation? Is it we're venting about social things or our friends? Like having that question like, hey, what do you need from me from this conversation? Or what's the topic of discussion? Yes, it sounds very sterile and kind of weird to do that. But in the end,
it's so powerful.
It helps like set the tone in your brain, what you're coming into, so that, yeah, you could be talking about logistics, but I'm thinking emotionally. I'm thinking from an emotional standpoint, and we're kind of missing each other. So if we kind of set the tone a little bit better, you're just talking about what we're doing this week on schedule, not anything else. I can be on that. I don't have time or brain power for the emotional part, but if you're caught off guard and think it's one versus the other, it can really mess things up and really cause like a really massive fight or miscommunication because we're just not getting on the same page or getting on the same wavelength by just asking those questions. And it's a wonderful, he does a wonderful job with his books and is great.
Yeah. And I think on that note, something that like he's communicated to me that, sometimes like for me, again, my automatic instinct when I'm sensing that he's stressed, overwhelmed, again, knowing that he has ADHD, I just like take on every role. So I'm like, you go relax, I've got this, so that he's not more overstimulated. But he's like, sometimes you could just ask me, approach from curiosity of like, what happened in your day? Or like, I'm sensing that you're a little bit tense. Like, are you okay? Are you good? Because like sometimes I just want you to be curious and ask me. And that can sometimes help me just like release versus just like, only leave it to me.
Hide me in the closet.
Yeah, hide you in the closet and be like, go away, so we can all be good. It's like, ask me and be there to support me. And I've had to learn, like, in terms of controlling the room, it's not just about, like, again, push him away and hide him, but also, again, like, be there for him and support him so that he can calm down and he can be involved. So that's also been a big learning lesson of, like, just, like, the curiosity, asking questions.
Yeah. Let me ask you about your ADHD. I know people are going to be listening and their ears are going to perk up and they go, oh, how do they do that? Like, do the two of you have a fully formed or a clear theory about how ADHD affects a marriage or your marriage? Like, how do you manage that?
Yeah, I think, I've been battling ADHD since I was like 7. So,
Is that how you think of it? Battling?
Yeah, it depends on the day. It's a bit, or adventure, you know,
I mean, we
sometimes.
talk about that a lot with cancer. We'll say, I'm fighting cancer, or I'm battling
Yeah.
cancer. We don't usually hear that language with other things like,
It depends on the day. Some days it's
Yeah.
a battle, and some days it's an adventure and journey and a good thing. Like my creativity, my wackiness, my silliness, my energy, it's who I am. But it's because of my ADHD that you know, I can do ridiculous voices and do nuts of things with the kids and bother the living daylights out of my wife because of that. And you know, but with the negatives, there's the struggle points.
Yeah.
It's a learning process because before we had kids, yeah, some of the stuff was maybe spacing out or distracted and not taking care of tasks when being asked, or just forgetting things. Oh, you were supposed
Yeah.
to. Oh, yeah, sorry, I was somewhere else.
Yeah.
But then with kids, I actually was off medication when we first got married and got back on medication when we had kids because I felt fractured and in different places. And it depends on the day, but to me, it's over communicating my needs for me. So it's like, hey, like we're having friends over for the weekend and we know that their kids are screaming and yelling and a lot. And we go, okay, what's the game plan? Okay, so if you get too much, if it gets too much for you, just let me know. Go upstairs and reset, you know, or hide or take the time you need, or just, hey, I need 15, 20 minutes just to reset or to go. You know, it's just that constant communication. And sometimes it's a battle, whether it's impulsivity or how I react, but it's that the fact that she knows gives her the context and awareness to either give me the benefit of the doubt or grace or kindness. It doesn't mean it's fun. It doesn't mean that it's a good thing. It just means, okay, I'm not I didn't do anything wrong. Ellie's just having a rough headspace. And then he will go do his thing, come back. We'll talk about it. We'll have a better game plan. She even coined a term for the flash mode thing. That sometimes when I get upset or I get overwhelmed, I'll be going so fast with my mindset, like the flash, that I'm not paying attention to other things or taking her into account. And I'm just going and going and going and going and going with my expression. So sometimes we came up with a tagline. She goes, hey, flash mode. Like I'm getting a little too riled
Flash
up.
is the superhero.
Yeah, like I'm going so fast that everything's a blur. So it's like, hey, flash mode. She calls me out and I go, okay. And I have to like reel it in, take a little bit more control, take a breath, go for a few seconds into, you know, another room and then come back in. But that's like the accountability that we have in each other, that it's just everyone's got their stuff. So as long as we are being honest about it with the other person about what it means, how is this day, how is that day, what triggers it or not, whether it's ADHD, whether it's, you know, any baggage that people have, I think it's just a wonderful thing to have someone in have your corner. And the other person's job is to be constantly curious to like, okay, so when we didn't have kids, but now we have kids, how's it going to show up? What does a worst day sound like? What's your worst nightmare with that? And how to handle it going forward.
Do you have the thing that I hear about a lot, which is that ADHD presents this kind of parent-child dynamic where like you may be feeling like you have to carry the emotional labor, or not the emotional, but like the tactical labor inside the home, and it's like another kid dealing with the ADHD thing? Or have you mitigated that? Have you found ways around that? Or has it just not really been a part of the feature of your particular expression?
Yeah, I would say there's definitely a lot of, I don't feel like he's an extra kid because he's very helpful around the house. And I would say, again, on a good day where we can communicate, that's great. But I would say, again, like there is kind of that extra component, which I would say it is often a battle in our marriage of like him, again, just communicating those needs, because again, once he gets overstimulated, then again, the environment starts to get a little bit more tense. There's more likely to be, you know, yelling with kids or raising voices, where again, like we both know that's not good and we try to control it and we're very good about that repair. But it does sometimes feel like there's like that extra person to manage sometimes. But it's not all the time. It's like on a very bad day, or like where he had a very overwhelming day at work, or on a Saturday when we've had a lot of people over and the noise is just a lot more, you know, overwhelming for him. But I think as opposed to a child where you just never know what you're going to get when they come home from school, or, you know, or like one thing could set them off, or like they're missing a toy and you're like, you can't reason with them. I would say for the most part with him, I can reason with him. We have good skills and tools where it's very different than being with a kid. So don't have to worry about that comparison.
Do you think that's the secret, that kind of no matter what it is, to cultivate the tools or the skills or the communication piece? I don't really like communication as a topic in terms of whether it's couples who come into me and they're like, we want to work on communication, or even the way that you said, communication is the secret, because it's such a broad term, right? It's just so big. It contains so much.
Yeah.
But if you were to drill it in and say, yes, communication is the key, but specifically it's this.
I think for me, it's the honesty. It's the honesty and accountability of the communication.
Okay.
So
and they're just kind of frequent check-ins, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Just so that there's always this open
consistency.
opportunity. Yeah.
It's not about how you're saying it. It's not, yes, tone matters and all that. And you can go, for hours on the idea of communication. It's not the fact that it has to be perfect and not the I versus the we statements. And those are all nice and wonderful and ideal and great and good for you. But I think in general, it's the consistency, the honesty, and the intentionality that you do with the, hey, I'm going to check in with you because I care. Not because I have to or I'm forced to. I'm going to make sure you're good. I'm going to keep myself honest and you honest by talking and being real with each other, and just don't, like when we were dating, we talked all the time. I just saw some stupid, silly video on TikTok where someone's like, yeah, when we were dating, we were on the phone for hours and now we're not. And their husband's like, yeah, because we live with each other. We see each other every day. Why would I be calling you every day when I see you? But the effort of...
Or we stayed awake till 3 a.m. talking about whatever topic under the sun. I'm like, it's 8 o'clock, babe. It's time to wrap it up. Whatever.
Yeah, we're going to bed. We're going to bed.
Yeah.
No, but like that constant showing interest and curiosity. But I think it's that you don't have to stop trying just because you're married.
Yeah.
So it's that, okay, maybe it's not the 7 hours on the phone call and up till 3 o'clock, but you're still trying to make those efforts. You're still trying that consistency and that checking in like you were dating, because you're still trying to build something. It doesn't just end because you got married or have a long-term relationship.
Yeah, but I think, again, just being vulnerable and open to, like, knowing that, like, if I share with him I'm having a really hard day, like, especially, again, as you're navigating being parents, where, like, you don't have the same opportunity to just, like, go reset, go for a walk, go to an exercise class, veg in bed and scroll, whatever your method of self-care looks like. Again, with kids, it's just challenging to carve out that time. But being like, knowing that I have a safe place to share, like, I'm really having a rough day, I really need this time. Like, he'll be like, I've got you. Like, I can do this. And this way, again, we don't get to the point where, like, I'm not getting what I need. I had a really hard day. I don't have a chance to reset. And then it starts to, overflow into me snapping at him, me snapping at the kids, and then just like the whole house is in total chaos. So that's where, again, it's not just general communication, but it's like we both feel safe with each other to share when we're having a rough day, and we know that we've got each other's backs to, like, take over. Like, it doesn't always have to be 50-50. He can, have a day where he's doing 80% of the parenting load. I'm doing 20 because I communicated that that's what I need today.
Yeah, right on. Tell me about your book, Ellie. Tell me what's your book about? Tell me, give me the elevator speech on your book.
Sure, it's right here.
Okay.
Why do we do? Navigating marriage and parenting years. It was going to be called How Not to Kill Each Other When You Have Kids, and the publishing company said, please no killing in the title.
A little too violent.
But it's how to handle the relationship when it comes to the parenting side. It's not a parenting book. It's a relationship book through the lens of being a parent. But the skills in there are for any relationship, whether you're thinking about having kids, about to have kids, you're dating and you want to have certain conversations of what it would be like, to have healthier topics to talk about so you can build a healthy relationship. And it's a lot of humor. It's a lot of honesty, a lot of stories, a lot of poop explosion stories. My publisher said, please stop with the poop explosions. I went, but that's parenting. There's poop and vomit all the time and crying. So it is just this realness as someone who's going through it, a married man with kids who happens to be a therapist, talking right to you as your friend, going along hand in hand with that process. And, I really, it was a challenge to write the book. I don't like writing, like I said, but now that I've done it, I actually think I want to write another book. I don't know. Nothing on the horizon yet, but you never know.
Have you read it?
Yes, I did.
What'd you think?
Yeah, I loved it. I said there were so many times where I was like laughing out loud, getting teary eyed or emotional, just the way he would speak about me.
Yeah, I was going to say, are you in it?
Yes, he definitely shared with me. So actually, one of my someone higher up at my company that I work for is also having a baby, and I was like, I would love to kind of get my husband's book for you because he's having his first child. I was like, and you're going to learn a lot about me.
I had a
Maybe
client.
more than you expected.
I had a client
to,
say,
but-
"Oh, you went through IVF?" I went, "How'd you know that?" They went, "Oh, yeah, about your book." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, yeah." Now there's people going to know information.
Yeah.
But
It was so fun to read. Just again,
and also you didn't really read it until that.
The ADHD comes with like all of this creativity. I'm like, how did you remember all of these stories to like connect to this concept? Because I'm like the total. I mean, obviously, I am subjective with reading his book, but like I try to keep an objective lens of like nonfiction can be hard to read sometimes. I'm a big reader. I love fiction, and nonfiction can sometimes be dry and a little bit boring. But you might learn a lot, but it might be hard to kind of like sit down and get through. But I feel like he was so good about like putting in those personal anecdotes of either, anonymous clients or stuff that we dealt with. I'm like, oh, that was such a great way to highlight that.
And I asked
it was really
permission.
fun to read.
I asked permission before any story was in there. I didn't just be like, hey, we're going to just put our dirty laundry in this and just make fun of each other. But
I just finished a manuscript, and I have my wife is in it, and so are my kids. But I realized my kids are now 19 and 23. They're adults, and I realized, I definitely need to make sure that they're okay with these stories. I told about them as 9-year-olds, as 14-year-olds. Like, it's not the same. So that's a hurdle I still have to clear, even though the manuscript is in. It's like, I hope I don't get in trouble with my kids, but it's wise to go ahead and check for permission. I just haven't done that.
And my kids were so excited, and like even in the acknowledgement section, I write about each child.
Yeah,
I have like a nickname for them, and my daughter asked me not to have one of the nicknames that I call her, and I went okay, and I took it out.
Right on.
It was like big whoop. Like I don't need to be upset at me for a silly nickname that I call you between us that you don't want to be in the book.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a fun process. It was exciting.
Cool. And what's next for you? You said you have another book. What's it going to be about?
Oh, I don't have another book, but if I would write a book, it would be about maybe a parenting book. I would do a parenting book and flip it instead of a relationship book, a parenting book.
I don't have a parenting book in me, but I do have a parenting title in me, and you can have it if you want it. You can.
Let's go. I'm ready here.
I was the perfect parent before I had kids.
Ooh.
We've dealt with our fair share of people who gave us
a lot of
before
tips
they were
before.
parents, and they were swiftly humbled
and
when
they're
they
going to
became
learn.
parents.
It's funny. My next door neighbor is a good friend of mine, and he said to me, he goes, Ellie, I started reading your book, and you said you've never met a perfect parent. And he goes, I'm right here.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Does he have kids?
Company. He does. He has 6.
Yeah. 6 kids. Jeez.
Yeah. They're crazy.
He's got lots of practice.
But what's on the horizon? Just the podcast is growing. Starting to get speaking gigs and opportunities like that, and sponsorship. And that's the kind of trajectory to hopefully, bring some wonderful opportunities for our family. That's really what it's all about, is to create some,
and still seeing clients.
And still seeing clients. Yeah. My practice is still fully open. So it's a party every day.
Right on. Well, if people are interested in learning more about what you're up to, where should I send them?
To my website, ellieweinstein.lcsw.com. You can follow me on Instagram, ellieweinstein_LCSW. And this amazing human being is also a wonderful dietitian.
Yeah, but I not active on Instagram anymore. My full-time job is keeping me very busy, and thank God I'm very happy there.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'll be sticking.
I tell you what, man, I would love to be in a world where I didn't have to care about being on Instagram anymore. That would be fun.
You know what? I say it very often. I'm back on TikTok doing videos. My publisher asked me to, and why not? And when people ask me about starting off and doing things, I say, I'm just letting you know you're going to be a slave to it, and you have to be in more control, because in the end, it's just a tool, and do your best with it. But it sucks that you have to be on that space that has all
mechanism.
the negative with the positive.
Very good.
And I tried it for a little bit, and I could not do it. So that's why I went
you did a
back
great job.
full time. And whenever I see him on his phone, that's where I give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, I know you're I'm not assuming you're just scrolling. You're probably.
I'm usually not just sitting and playing games and scrolling. I'm usually messaging for opportunities and following people and commenting on things just to get that next lead or something. It's
hard.
It is hard.
Cool. Well, I'm glad to meet you both. Good luck with your pregnancy. Let's just say 7 more weeks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, listen, thanks for coming on to Marriage Therapy Radio and sharing your story with us. I know people are going to be encouraged, and we'll point people in a direction. Congratulations on the book. I do hope that you write another parenting book because, kind of once you caught the bug, it's hard to put it down. But thanks again. It's good to talk to you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you to the dude therapist, Ellie Weinstein, and to his wife, Ariella. Congratulations on their pregnancy. I hope that you have a safe and healthy pregnancy as you continue to grow your family. Thank you for sharing time with us. You should check out Allie's book, particularly if you're interested in the conversation that we just had. And thank you for supporting us, for reviews on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, for following us on the socials, particularly Instagram at Marriage Therapy Radio. You can follow me on Substack. It's at Stuff I Write, or you can just check out Substack. I'm moving over to Thinking Out Loud over there as an extension of this writing that I've started and I'm learning about. And I'm looking forward to sharing more of my thoughts about relationships, but also not relationships at stuffiwrite.com. And that's all for now. I think as we head into wedding season, if you find yourself in some of these moments, take a minute, just reflect on what makes your relationship work and what you feel like is part of your own long game. And then, have fun at your wedding. Dance a little bit or a lot. For now, I'll just thank you for the time and attention you're putting into making your relationship better today than it was yesterday.
This podcast is sponsored by Pocket Hose.
Hi, I'm Richard Karn. Homeowners, listen up. Before Pocket Hose, garden hoses were heavy, bulky, hard to carry, and always kinking. Then Pocket Hose changed all that. It's the American invention that made watering lighter, easier, and smarter. And now, the world's #1 expanding hose has gone ballistic. Turn on the water and watch it grow from a compact hose into a full-length, powerful hose. Turn off the water and it shrinks right back down, making it easy to carry and easy to store. But now it's even better. With a tough ballistic-infused outer sleeve, a pocket pivot that helps reduce kinks at the spigot, thicker washers to help resist leaks, and UV protection to fight sun damage. And for a limited time, you'll get 2 free gifts, a 360-degree pocket pivot and a thumb drive nozzle. Just go to pockethose.com/podcast. That's pockethose.com/podcast for your 2 free gifts with purchase. pockethose.com/PODCAST.